up guys, it's Gentry Stein, the current world yo-yo champion, and welcome to my Learn To Yoyo series. In this one, we're going to be getting you guys properly prepped for modern unresponsive yo-yoing so you guys can get started learning tricks like this. Let's first talk about how the development of unresponsive yo-yos has allowed yo-yoing to evolve into what it is today. Go over how to get an unresponsive yo-yo to come back to your hand with a bind so you guys are ready to take those skills to the next level. If you guys are new to yo-yoing, I recommend the Yo-Yo Master Pack. It'll be the first link in the description of this video. And that's the perfect setup for you guys to follow the first chapter of this Learn To Yoyo series. But if you've already been following and you're ready to start learning those unresponsive tricks, you're in the right place. Grab your Unresponsive Replay Pros from the Yo-Yo Master Pack, or if you're looking to step it up, check out the Yo-Yo Pro Trainer Pack. I'll give you guys more details on this new pack soon. But until then, let's get our unresponsive yo-yos ready and let's get to work. Back in the early 90s, everyone was using responsive yo-yos, which is just a regular yo-yo where you throw it down, it spins, and then you tug it back up to your hand. And a lot of people don't realize that yo-yos have changed so much since then. The types of tricks that you'll see with responsive yo-yos are things like rock the baby, or maybe the elevator. Maybe you'll even see some more advanced tricks like the trapeze, or trapeze and brother. But as players were wanting to push the boundaries of what kind of tricks they were doing, the responsive yo-yos became really limiting because as you throw it, you're limited to about no longer than a 20 to 30 second spin. And while that does allow you to do some tricks like what I was just showing, if you want to get into more advanced tricks, like let's say the cold fusion, things can get a little bit rough because the yo-yo snags up, it doesn't keep spinning, and there's too much friction on the inside of the yo-yo. So it really limits what types of tricks are possible. And what players started doing is actually modifying their responsive yo-yos with the goal of making them more unresponsive so they could spin longer and do more tricks with them. Now, a few things that they might do would be unscrewing the yo-yo a little bit, which might help out a little bit and make it spin longer, but then the yo-yo is going to give you less control. It might even come apart as you're playing with it. So that didn't really work out too well. They would also do things like sand down the inside of the yo-yo and try all these crazy things to modify their yo-yos, which really in the end may have helped a little but turned into a bigger problem for them. So essentially the yo-yos that players were using were not up to par with what they needed in order to continue moving yo-yo forward and developing what's possible with tricks. Then what happened was a newer, at the time, emerging yo-yo brand called Yo-Yo Factory released one of the first unresponsive out-of-the-box yo-yos called the Grind Machine. And this really took things to the next level as pretty much all yo-yo players transitioned to using unresponsive yo-yos, which really allowed them to completely break the boundaries of what they were doing with tricks and essentially created unlimited possibilities as to what's possible with a yo-yo. Now Yo-Yo Factory is the leading yo-yo brand in the industry, and that's why I choose to throw Yo-Yo Factory. I've designed all of my signature yo-yos with them, including the Replay Pro, which as you guys know is the third yo-yo in the Yo-Yo Master Pack. It's what I'll be using in this video. As you throw an unresponsive Replay Pro for the first time, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. It'll spin for over 10 times as long as a responsive yo-yo. So with that being said, let's get into the fundamentals of playing with an unresponsive yo-yo so you guys too can start pushing the boundaries and experience modern yo-yo. Now the main thing we're going to need to know how to do with an unresponsive yo-yo is called the bind return. And that's going to allow us to get the yo-yo back to our hand. So as I said, because the unresponsive yo-yo has such a wide gap, that's what allows it to spin for so long, but then we're not going to be able to tug it back up. So sometimes if someone plays with an unresponsive yo-yo at first, they might think it's broken, but little do they know, by learning just one trick, they're going to start to be able to do way crazier tricks than they ever thought. As we start to learn the bind, it's first important to know how the mechanics of binding works, what's actually going on with the yo-yo, so that way we understand the concept and then we can try to apply it. What's happening in a bind is we're essentially forcing string into the gap of the yo-yo, ultimately creating more friction, which then allows us to bring the yo-yo back to our hand exactly when we want it to. So let's learn how to bind. The first step is of course going to be throwing the yo-yo down, getting a good spin going, and then we want to put our opposite pointed finger straight out in front of us. From there, you want to wrap the string around that finger and start to slide the yo-yo up like this. We do that by sliding the string on our finger. And then what we want to do is actually bring the yo-yo onto the string, just like this. So if you see that from this angle, as we're bringing the string around, we actually wrap the string under the yo-yo until our hands are even, just like this. Now as you're practicing this, you may find that the yo-yo tilts like this. So again, as I've taught in some of the previous Learn To Yoyo episodes, what we want to do is adjust our throw hand string. So let's say our yo-yo is tilting over to our opposite side. what we want to do is actually move that throw hand string over, and you can see it tilts the other way. If now the yo-yo is tilted too much this way, we turn it back the other way by controlling it with the string attached to our throw hand. Once we can get the yo-yo in control on the string like this, all we're going to do from this point is pinch this loop here on our opposite pointer finger by putting our thumb on top of it. From there, it's important that we keep this non-throw hand still as we slowly pull our throw hand up. And as you do that, you're going to feel the string starting to wind up and catch on the inside of the yo-yo. And if you continue doing that, the yo-yo will snag back to your hand. Now, learning to bind is pretty reliant on timing. So if you're practicing the bind and it looks something like that, then don't worry, your technique probably isn't that far off. You just got to give it a little bit more work, get your timing down, and you'll be good to go. To understand how the timing should work, what you want to feel for is that moment where the yo-yo starts to snag up. At that moment when it's about to snag is when you want to let go of that pinch on the loop with your thumb and let your opposite pointer finger come out of the string. So as we start to slowly pull our throw hand up, we feel it wrapping around, it's getting tighter and tighter, and then we let go right as we're feeling it snag. Now, a good way to practice this is to actually not let go of any strings and practice the bind to where it snags up and hits your hand just like that. And that's going to really help you understand when you should let go, because instead of just letting the yo-yo come up and hit your hand like that, then you can just let go of everything right as it's snagging. So that's how to do the basic bind from a front throw. Again, a front throw is just when we throw the yo-yo out in front of us and it's spinning forward. So when we're binding, we want to bring that string in front of the yo-yo, so as it starts to wind up, it catches going the same direction that the yo-yo is spinning. But as you've seen in some of the previous Learn to Yo-Yo episodes, a lot of the modern tricks that we do are not from just a front throw, but they're actually from a side throw or a breakaway throw. Now the yo-yo is not spinning in front of us forward, it's spinning to the side toward our throw hand side. So we have to keep in mind that we want the string to be going onto the yo-yo from whatever direction it's spinning. So again, it's spinning this way this time toward our throw hand side because that's where we threw it. And so if we turn our body this way, we bind the same way as we did before. But if we turn our body this way, we actually have to do what's called a backspin bind because the yo-yo is now spinning backwards from our perspective. Again, if we turn here, it's spinning forward. If we turn here, it's spinning back toward us. And so what we do is actually the same thing, but instead of bringing the finger in front of the string, we're actually going to push it straight into the string. So that way the string comes onto the yo-yo, again, in the direction that it's spinning. So here we bring it onto the yo-yo. Now it's the same position, but flipped around. And we're going to do the same thing here by pinching this loop and pulling our throw hand up. Now you'll notice as I caught that, because the yo-yo was spinning this way toward our throw hand side when we were turned this way, now the string wound up on the wrong side of the yo-yo. So now it's in our hand, and as we go to throw the next time, it's stuck here. Just like we learned in the first two episodes, we have to have the yo-yo set up in our hand properly. So when we do a backspin bind, when we turn the opposite way from where we threw it, meaning we throw it this way, the yo-yo is spinning toward that side, and then we go to bind from this side, so now it's spinning backwards. What we have to do is actually catch the yo-yo with our palm facing us. So when we catch the yo-yo, it's going to catch just like that. As you're doing side style or breakaway tricks, you're not going to want to turn your body every time and bind and catch it like this because it's a little bit awkward. So what you want to learn how to do is actually just do the backspin bind like this, where our body's still facing forward, so we don't have to keep moving our shoulders around. And again, it's going to be the same technique. We just bring our finger straight in, but this time we can bring it to the side we want to bring the string over on. Remember, the yo-yo is spinning this way, so we bring our finger to that side of the string, bring the string around this way, and now our hands are crossed here. So remember, if the yo-yo is tilting, you can adjust it. But from here, all you're going to do is cross the strings and do the same thing. So pinch this loop and then pull the throw hand up and catch it with your palm facing the yo-yo, and you're good to go. Now I know all of that may seem a little bit confusing, and if you're wondering if you're doing it correctly, the way we can tell that it's going to bind correctly and we're doing it with the right technique is by when we go to bind, you're going to feel it snagging up right away. So again, if we do the wrong type of bind, we threw a side throw this time. Now if we go and bring the string to the wrong side of the yo-yo, again, it's the wrong side, the yo-yo is spinning backwards, but we're bringing the string to the front, it's not going to snag up when we bind. So if that happens, then just remember this technique of bringing the string to whatever side the yo-yo is spinning from, and then we'll be able to bind each time. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up the unresponsive guide in the Learn To Yo-Yo series. If you want to pick up an unresponsive yo-yo to start practicing those binds on and getting those unresponsive tricks down, check them out on my website, gentrystein.com. The Replay Pro, Shutter, or Shutter Trainer are all great options for your first unresponsive modern yo-yo. I'll see you guys in the next video where we're going to keep pushing the boundaries of modern yo-yo and learn some more sick tricks. See you guys then.